Okay. I'd like to call to order the City Council meeting of November 15th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could please stand for a moment in silence for three people who passed away in Avalon: Paul Moritz, Jose Luis Casares, and Tim Crowley. You may sit down. But I would just like to say we're very thankful for the rain that we've had. I know that's just the start of hopefully a rainy season. Edison, we're talking to Ron Height, and he says, well, just this one storm it's not going to affect the reservoir, and the second one might not either. So we just need to hope for a little more rain so we can get that reservoir going up. And if we could please have the roll call.
Councilmember Lavelle?
Here.
Councilmember Schickling?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ponce?
Here.
Mayor Marshall?
Here.
And for the record, Councilmember De La Rosa will not be in attendance.
Thank you. We have a presentation that we would like to have made. If Luke, if you please come up.
Oh dear, all right, I have to recuse myself, so I'll see you in a minute.
Go ahead.
So I appreciate the timing accommodation, but we wanted to fast forward to one slide we were going to share as part of the water update to announce November's recipient of Catalina's Water Conservation Recognition Program. You can see we haven't had the right buzzword to put that together yet, but I'm sure down the road we're going to have it. And we've made the announcement, if anybody wants to nominate their neighbor, a friend that they see conserving water, just send that in, catalinawater@sce.com, and once you're nominated, you're in the pool for recognition.
Okay.
At this time, I'd like to announce Chet's Hardware as the recipient for November, the very first recognition, and they are in attendance here. For the community. Special thanks to Steve Whittington, who's also here, for submitting it.
All of you, come on.
And so what Chet's did and continues to do since August of this year, they installed an 850-gallon storage tank that collects rainwater and condensation from their air conditioner and ice machine. This water that's collected then goes to their nursery, which saves an estimated 600 gallons per month. That's over 7,000 gallons per year and meets all of the water needs in their nursery. And also with rain, there's surplus water, and surplus water collected is also used to wash vehicles, buildings, pavement, and sidewalk, helping to reduce the demand on the potable water in the community. And lastly, and most importantly, they are happy to share their story, experience, and lessons learned with you. So anybody in the community, approach them, and they will show you like they did me. And I've been there once already with some other people to show them. So with that, I want to recognize them and appreciate it.
Yeah.
So Chet's Hardware, on behalf of Love Catalina Island, Southern California Edison, and the City of Avalon, we present you with this certificate in honor of your water conservation. And also a Love Catalina Island gift certificate. So I'll challenge you to use that to reward your team who is doing all this good conservation.
And congratulations, thank you. Thank you very much. are there any announcements or written communications?
I've received no written communications.
Okay. Okay. Department head reports?
We're not there yet.
No.
Good evening, Bob Greenlaw, Director of Public Works. Got a couple items. Casino Way Arch, work is scheduled to start next week on the Casino Way Arch, finally.
Okay.
So local contractor MKS Painting will clean the plaster down to stable material and replaster the structure, followed by coatings that are able to endure the harsh environment at the water's edge. The walkway through the arch will be closed during the work, as well as the surrounding beach area. A temporary pedestrian walkway will be set up in the roadway with K-rails will protect the pedestrians. And then the roadway will be posted for one-lane traffic for about 3 weeks.
Okay.
So there'll be a stop at each end, and you know the typical one-way roadway says proceed when clear. Okay.
Sweet.
And then the Middle Beach lighting. The cafe lighting that we have at Middle Beach is being modified similar to what we did at South Beach to a 20-foot height and with new stainless steel cables to carry commercial grade lighting. So we're looking for that to have a long service life.
Yeah.
And also the reason we put them at 20 feet like at South Beach is we got to get our equipment out there. As you know, after a storm or just even the general beach maintenance, we need to be able to operate a backhoe underneath that. So that 20-foot light seems to have worked well for South Beach, and it's just been a matter of scheduling. So now that the visitor season is smaller, you know, less visitors, it's time to get out there early in the morning. And we're working around the cruise ship schedule to do that. Also, soon we'll have a demonstration of, on the palm trees, there'll be 3 palm trees where we'll put ring lighting that will broadcast light up into the tree palm fronds, and then also there'll be samples of it going downward. So up direction, down direction. They're lights, they're low voltage lighting that will be about 12 to 20 foot up on the palm tree. And once we get where we're satisfied with that, we can order additional lights. But we first want to get it out to the community and see what the input is. It is white in color LED lighting, but it also during seasons it can be changed to different colors.
Great.
Okay,
Yeah.
any questions?
Questions? No?
When is the demo still going to be done? Sorry, do you know what the date is for that demo yet or not yet for the ring lights?
For the ring lights,
Yeah.
we have them on hand right now. We just need to get a few extra parts,
Okay.
which could be as early as next week, you know, but then we start bumping up against the holidays.
Yeah.
But, you know, as soon as we get those prior to, you know, us getting Christmas celebration, you know, we would like to get some samples up,
Okay.
see if it works for us.
Great.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Excellent. Who's next?
Madam Mayor, council members, city officials. Since I was last up here, we had 66 observations made by our officers, or deputies, sorry. 32 calls for service. We made 1 arrest for a drunken public, 1 arrest for open container in a moving vehicle. And we're currently planning for next month to have a toy drive with IEX helicopters. As we
Oh,
have in the
yeah.
past. So we're in the planning stage, don't have a date set yet, but hopefully by next time we'll have a date for you guys.
Great. Good.
Any questions?
Any questions? No, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Who are we missing?
I think,
Matt, you coming out? Maybe not. Go ahead,
Dave
Dave.
Hart.
I was hoping he was going to talk about more money I can spend. Thank you, Madam Mayor and City Council. On Veterans Day, we helped our local 4682 VFWs put together a Veterans Day celebration at Veterans Memorial Park. There were over 150 people at the event. We had an internationally recognized award-winning 10-year-old singer, Adriana Day Cousins, sing the national anthem. Father Guinto did the invocation, and Sadie Parson stepped in to represent her father, Corporal Cal Parson, to give inspiring words about our military. We opened up the floor for local speakers, as well as other veterans from over town who came to be part of this event. Pancake Cottage then fed the troops at City Park, and KISL provided the music and games for them to enjoy each other's company and stories. We are looking to make this event where veterans make Catalina Island their destination for Veterans Day. Hopefully next year, put concerts out on Front Street. We have a lot of the local vendors who are looking to do discounts to hotels. I think it's an easy one to jump on board with, and
Yeah.
people who did come seem to really enjoy it. So we really enjoyed helping to put that on. Another great event that's coming up is the 29th annual Shop Catalina, held by Love Catalina Island. And that's the Shop Catalina, is Saturday, December 3rd. And other organizations that are, they brought in with it is Rotary, Catalina Art Association, as well as the City of Avalon. It will be starting from 12 p.m. going through 8 p.m. With a Christmas craft boutique, C's candy cells, ornament decorating for kids. The Avalon Rotary Club will be doing a gingerbread house decorating contest. The winners will be displayed after Shop at Home. The winners will be displayed in the lobby of City Hall, which will add to the decoration here and an opportunity for them to be seen by as many people as possible. There will also be hot chocolate, popcorn for sale. There will be the Catalina Kid Ventures holiday performance on Wrigley Stage. And then we will have the community tree lighting with Santa Claus. Our new 20-foot tree is going to be beautiful. As well as pictures with Santa Claus right afterwards at 5:30 to 8:30. So we're really excited for that event that will be coming up. Also, soccer signups for kids from TK to 8th grade starts tomorrow. And we are very optimistic that we will probably hit pre-COVID numbers, mainly due to the fact that we were at pre-COVID numbers for our flag football league. This is showing that our kids just really need more to do, and in this town, sports are so important to the community and for these kids. I really want to give a big shout out to our 6th through 8th grade group. Because that was a group that was, many people were saying that kind of need maybe a little more discipline, but they showed incredible sportsmanship. They showed incredible desire to play without being boisterous or loud or in people's faces. I actually had to control the crowds more than I had to control our kids, so I was really proud of those boys and girls. Half the players were girls this year, so that was really exciting to see. And then speaking on providing more for our kids, as the council knows, I met with the Long Beach YMCA last week. Their organization's been great. They reached out to us about coming to help us maybe create more programs, and so we were able to go over and see several YMCAs, as well as some of their community of development programs that they do, as well as their youth academy that they have, where they teach kids to web design, podcast, and those kids are now being hired out for jobs based on the technical skills that they're learning. We're hoping down the road we want to move in that direction. But for this next year, working with the school and working with Melinda Clare, we are going to be starting the Youth in Government program, where the kids will get an opportunity to actually create a bill and be able to take it to Sacramento. And the kids actually take over Sacramento. They elect a youth governor, they create the bills, and then it actually gets to be moved forward. That's where the helmet law came from, was from the Youth in Government. So we're excited for that, as well as they'll be bringing us instructors for swim classes, and we're looking to teach somebody here on the island to be certified to teach swim classes, and they have the instructors for that to teach that. So we're looking for people who would like to learn to be an instructor and be hired out by the city to teach swim to the kids here in Avalon. As well as, I think another one we can get involved with, and I know it's a big one for Councilmember De La Rosa, is immigration services. They have a very extensive staff there for that, to meet those needs. And so we're going to be tapping into them as well to help us to create more of that type of programming here as well. And then last but not least, we'll be giving our annual Thanksgiving food basket to local families in need on November 22nd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the community church down where the old teen center was. We would like to thank our generous donors from the Rotary Club to Lions Clubs and Island Company, but also a very big shout out because they gave a very generous donation, came from our very own BBK and Scott Campbell. So really want to give a big shout out to them. Because of their donations, our local families will be able to have more to be thankful for this year. Do you have any extra questions?
And the list is developed how?
The list is developed through one from people who called us and let us know to be put on the list, as well as the list that the school has. That's the big one.
Okay.
Usually those are the ones who are on that free lunch list. We'll collect also from the food pantry and the churches.
Okay. And just, is Rotary going to be selling those kits? Didn't you sell them last year?
Let me get to my,
Oh, okay, never mind. Okay. Okay.
Any
Thank
more
you.
questions?
Dave,
Thank you.
no, I was wondering about the swimming lessons and the people that want to teach the swimming lessons. Do we have an above-ground pool? I thought that got
Well,
destroyed.
one of the things that we had done before in the past, and I will reach out to her again, because we can do it open ocean, but it's hard for the really young kids to do that.
Yeah.
But we have worked out with Nicole Hostin.
Oh.
I hope I said her.
At the Holiday Inn? Yeah.
Hohenstein, up at the Canyon Inn up there, and she's allowed us to use it before in the mornings to be able to teach swim lessons. And so, if we're able to find somebody here who is willing to learn to get certified as an instructor, get water safety certified, I will reach out to her again for that. She's been kind enough to allow us to use that pool for our aqua aerobics classes, and she's very community minded. And so I'm pumping her up right now. If you're listening, Nicole, we can talk a little bit later about this. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate everything you've given us so far.
And for someone to get certified, would they get certified here by
They'll
the
get-
lifeguards?
yes,
Would they
they'll-
go over town?
No, they will send the lifeguards here to certify them.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's convenient.
Yeah, they really want to help us out as much as possible, because one, they love Catalina Island. They're
Right.
kind of fighting over which group is going to be kind of like our mentor group. So
Right, and so would the lessons be like on the weekends then? Or,
probably summertime, weekdays, midweek, like what we've done before in the past. Especially if it's going to be at a hotel, you don't really want to impact
Oh, true.
the
Yeah.
pool during the weekends.
I'm just curious, because I used to teach little kids swimming lessons
Oh, so we might have a
billion years ago.
Oh, yeah.
But I really enjoyed it, and, so I was just wondering, I'm not busy at all, I got nothing on my plate.
All right. Well, you
But,
and I
yeah.
will talk some more.
Yeah, definitely, I'm kind of curious about that, so, yeah. All right, cool, thank you.
Thank you. We're good?
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Matt Baker, Finance Director. Just wanted to first let you know that we're actually having streaming issues on Channel 3. It's broadcasting fine on Facebook and YouTube, but we don't have audio on Channel 3. So right now I'm working with Rick and Catalina Broadband to resolve to see where the
Okay.
issue is. But it is, I know anyone watching on Channel 3 can't hear me, but it is streaming with audio on YouTube and Facebook, and there'll be recordings on both Facebook and YouTube, but we're hopefully to get it resolved here shortly.
Thank you, Matt.
Other than that, issued a visitor-driven revenue report through September yesterday. Again, September numbers were strong. We're not seeing the double-digit increases we saw over the past 18 months, but we're plateauing at a nice level. October early reporting is slightly down, but it's kind of too early to read too much into that. There's still a lot of hotels outstanding. Other than that, finance is focused on the audits that we'll be hopefully presenting you a draft early January.
Any questions? Great, thank you, Matt. City manager report?
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Council. Just a few things. Starting next month, we will be presenting to council. I don't know that it'll be with an individual at the council meetings, but we'll be presenting to council monthly reports from code enforcement. As you know, code enforcement does much more than issue parking tickets, vehicle tows, animal control issues, nuisance abatement matters. So they will be submitting their monthly reports, and we'll get them to council. If there are any questions, I'm sure the chief will be able to answer them. Yeah. Also, I'd like to note that Chief Alegria and Orrin are both over town. Orrin was over on a case in court today, and he's on the boat as we speak, I believe, coming back. So that's why they're not here to give their reports. I do want to follow up briefly on what Dave just said regarding Veterans Day. I was down there. It was beautiful. It was a great ceremony. Thank you to Dave Hart, Jen Diaz, and it's thank you to Pancake Cottage and all the work they did in providing food and a great atmosphere for the veterans. It was pretty cool to see. Reminder, I know council knows, but reminder for residents, on December 14th, we'll be having a special council meeting from, I believe, 10 a.m. to noon to address, solely to discuss vehicle registration code. We're looking for input from anybody and everybody on this. We've started our in-house discussion. We will present some information to council concerning number of vehicles, number of registrations issued over the last year, all the way going back to 2000, I think we've gone back. So you can see how many, where we've gone up and down over the years. So we're looking forward to getting some information out of there. And last, but certainly not least, I'm honored to announce that the LA County Sheriff's Department did a very smart thing, in my opinion. They have decided they're going to promote Lieutenant King to Captain King, effective Sunday.
Yay!
And then after his promotion on Sunday, he will officially be the permanent unit commander at Avalon. So I can tell you this personally, I'm thrilled to hear that. I've really enjoyed working with Matt, and we were hoping this would happen. So it's exciting that it's actually going to be happening, and I know that his staff is also very happy to have that have that put in place. So welcome Matt, and he's so happy to be here. I mean, he just keeps talking about how happy he is to be here, and he hopes it's permanent, and we're glad that this is gonna be a longer relationship. So welcome Matt, and that's all I have.
Well, you haven't played golf with us yet on Sunday, so that's 1:15. That Val's the lady. And we want to thank you, Grayson Klein, for all that you've done. You held down the fort through all of this, so we really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Great, okay. City Attorney?
Nothing real to report other than I will be attending the next Planning Commission meeting and council meeting in December in person, so I will see you in Avalon.
Okay, thank you. Council member reports.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I did attend a electric vehicle charging stations webinar earlier today with the League of California Cities. It was interesting to hear what they had to say, but it really wasn't anything that would help us right now. With the Build Back, the focus is on transportation corridors, so freeways and things, but it was interesting to see that they're looking at getting charging stations 50 miles apart, and that they can't be any more than a mile away from the actual corridor.
Yeah.
So the idea is great. It's just that's what they're looking at right now. That's the focus is for the infrastructure on that. And then Shop Catalina, the Avalon Rotaries Interact Club will be sponsoring the gingerbread house contest again. You can pick up the little houses if you don't want to make your own at both the Seacrest Inn and at the Catalina Craft Corner in the tour plaza. They're $20 to buy one of the kits and to enter. And if you don't want to do one from a kit, it's still $20 to enter, and you could do that entry the day of. We're going to accept the houses between 12 and 1, and then we will run the viewing of the houses between 1 and 4:30. We want to have the picks done and ready to be announced by 5 o'clock before Santa and the lights go on in the tree. But it's a fun event, and some of these have been very creative. And we are going to be doing kids and adults. So we're going to break it up this year so that there are 2 different levels. But hey, some of these kids ones have been amazing. So, but just to let you know that it's out there, and like I said, if you want to get pick up a kit, you can pick them up at either the Seacrest Inn or at the Catalina Craft Corner.
Or you could just buy a kit and give it to somebody
Yeah,
else.
you could also buy a kit, but then it's still $20 to enter. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Mary, did you have anything?
Oh dear. I don't really have a lot to report, and I'm feeling kind of guilty about that. I do have a lot on my plate. I have a lot of stuff going on. You know, Dave and I actually, I had to miss my weekly meeting with him because I was busy at work. But I do want to remind the community that Kids at Play is going on this weekend, and we do a great job of supporting the arts in this community, and it's going to be in the Casino Theater Friday, Saturday nights, and Sunday afternoon at 4:30. And I've seen some of it, and it's adorable. Sean just does an amazing job, and we're still in rehearsals for A Christmas Story, you know, the famous leg lamp movie. We're going to be doing that play in the casino December 17, 18, and 19, so I'm doing rehearsals for that and stuff. And I just did the play preschool auction, which I love doing that. I get to be an auctioneer for that, and it warms my heart to see. If you don't know what it's all about, Play Preschool is a co-op. So their fundraiser, their annual fundraiser, the parents make things, and then we auction them off. So it's amazing, the creativity. And I'm just like, really? So-and-so made that? Oh my God. But anyway, it was very well attended, and I'm sure they raised a lot of money, and it was really awesome. So I promise I'll get back to work next week.
I guess I didn't win the 3 days of golf in Palm Springs.
Just attended the Gateway Cities COG meeting the day after ours, nothing to report from that. And then attended the transportation mode shift meeting last night with a number of people, and was a good conversation. I would love to see more community interaction with those meetings when we have them. It seems like it's often the same people that show up to all of them, and then everyone complains after the fact. So if you would like to sign up for Facebook and get those alerts, if you sign up to like any one of our pages that are on Facebook, we're usually sharing those. I try to share them early and then the day of the event again, but I know not everyone sees everything all the time, so I know that's something that'll be coming with the new city website and being able to sign up for email alerts and notifications. But it would be good to have city and community interaction with some of those things. We were talking specifically about transportation and mode shifts, so trying to get more people out of vehicles and onto the streets, whether it was through walking, biking, or other means, to be able to move around and see what would help. And then also just have started looking at a few different interesting autonomous vehicles that may be the right size for Avalon potentially, as service solutions too. So that was interesting. And then in addition to adding Kids at Play to your weekend schedule, if you could also add the Lancer boys football team to your schedule for Friday at 7 p.m. at Joe Machado.
Oh, 7 p.m.
They're in the, is it semifinals, I believe? Right?
Semifinals.
Semifinals. So wear blue if you can, and hope to see you guys there. Tickets will be available at the door for sale or online ahead of time as well. I'll post the website a little bit later this week so you can get tickets. But yeah, exciting to see them move forward, and congrats to the girls volleyball team on a really good season. They made it up to the quarterfinal round and were amazing. So proud of all of them and excited to support them, and hopefully they'll make it through to the next round.
Yeah, excellent.
Thanks.
And I'm sure the snack bar will be open for food on
I
the
would
night?
assume so.
Yeah, good.
They've been having
So-
some good stuff.
Yes, okay, well, excellent. I just attended Veterans Day as well. It was phenomenal. We had 8 blind veterans come from as far as Philadelphia. They go to the Long Beach VA to get their treatment, to learn how to walk with their stick and how to use their phones and their computers. And they had a wonderful time. I'm very, very happy to be here. Newport Elks Lodge brought them over, so that was good. And yes, the 3 of us attended the mobility workshop. There were only 2, as far as I could glean, only 2 residents that were in on the whole Zoom thing. And I don't know what we need to do to oh, and Jim, but I call you like you are a resident, but you also come as an organization. I just don't know what we can do to get the word out, to have people become more involved, because as we start making decisions, then they come out of the woodwork. And so anyway, that's all I have.
And it was nice that there was full live Spanish translation as well.
Yeah, we didn't need it, but yeah, I think they had a couple translators.
Yep.
Yes, thank you. And Michael, you have something you're going to be reading?
A proclamation of the City Council of the City of Avalon recognizing November as Family Court Awareness Month. Whereas the mission of the Family Court Awareness Month Committee is to increase awareness on the importance of a family court system that prioritizes child safety and acts in the best interest of children. And whereas the mission of FCAMC is fueled by the desire to create awareness and change in the family court system for the conservatively estimated 58,000 children a year ordered into unsupervised contact with abusive parents, while honoring the hundreds of children who have been reported as murdered during visitation with dangerous parents. And whereas the mission of the FCAMC is to increase awareness on the importance of empirically based education and training on domestic violence and child abuse, including emotional, psychological, physical, and sexual abuse, as well as childhood trauma, coercive control, and post-separation abuse for judges and all professionals working on cases within the family court system. And whereas the mission of the FCAMC is to increase awareness on the importance of using scientifically valid, evidence-based treatment programs and services that are proven in terms of safety, effectiveness, and therapeutic value. And whereas the mission of the FCAMC is to educate judges and other family court professionals on evidence-based, peer-reviewed research. Such research is a critical component to making decisions that are truly in the best interest of children. This research includes the adverse childhood experiences study. Co-principal investigator Vincent Belletti, Kaiser Permanente CDC, childhood custody evaluations, beliefs about domestic abuse allegations, principal investigator Daniel Saunders, University of Michigan, sponsored by the National Institute of Justice, and child custody outcomes in cases involving parental alienation and abuse allegations, principal investigator Joan S. Meyer, GW Law School, sponsored by the National Institute of Justice. Now, therefore, the City Council and the citizens of the City of Avalon hereby declare the month of November to be Family Court Awareness Month, dated this 15th of November, 2022.
Thanks, Michael. Okay. Oral communication, this is an opportunity for people to address the council on items that are not on the agenda. You will be limited to 2 minutes and no action will be taken.
Hello. I'm here to speak on network connectivity and the options available to the Avalon community. There are satellite options like HughesNet and Locket, which require being within range of Buena Vista Point and could be limited by weather conditions. And the new satellite options available to Starlink, but I've heard that you wait 7 months for to receive the install equipment. And it ranges from $700 for residential or up to $2,500 for business. For the initial setup costs. And then there's Catalina Broadband, who seems to always do just enough to get by, but never exceeds expectations. I'm here to talk to you about if you continue to worry about a reliable internet connection, even with the recent improvement in options, and are still left unsatisfied, or if you're a Verizon Wireless customer and you own your own business, I have the perfect solution for you. I just found that Verizon is offering a backup solution to Catalina businesses. How it works in a nutshell is you can plug in your existing router to Verizon's backup router, and if your internet was to ever go down, Verizon will pick up the slack and you never lose a second of work. What this looks like on a monthly level is a charge of like $20 for the device, the service, and a 10-year price guarantee. If your internet were ever to go down simply through just the power on and hop on your Verizon network, you get a maximum of 300 gigabytes per month and get charged per gigabyte in due course. It can be extremely successful because it's a standalone unit and it has its own cellular service that's independent from your current provider. In the event that your internet service provider is underperforming or that the local public utility has a power outage, this standalone unit has a battery backup. If you're interested in knowing more about this wonderful and cost-effective option, you can ask me or you can contact Alejandra to ask any questions. I leave you in good hands with her. She's one of the best reps in the business. You can make reference to Catalina Carl if you'd like when you contact her, but you can reach her at 949-270-5203 or by email, which is alejandra.barrera.chen@verizonwireless.com.
Is that Alejandra Barriga from Avalon or somebody different? And Alejandra, okay, the name threw me off.
I tried to time that to 2 minutes.
You did good, okay.
Yeah.
That's it, thank
If you
you.
have any questions,
Catalina Carl?
Hello there, Paul Birchall, Avalon Library. I don't have very much today. I just want to strongly recommend and invite everybody to come see the Haynes Marionettes at my library Thursday at 4 o'clock. They're coming from over town. It's going to be The Princess and the Pirates. This is Pirate Island, so I want y'all to come. I have set up a craft where it's a little treasure map. I don't have a treasure buried, it's just a design your own treasure map, and some treasure chests that you can decorate. Also, might as well, since I'm here, the book club still got some books ready for you guys. That's going to be Tuesday the 29th at 6 p.m. It's Circe by Madeline Miller. I'm hearing a lot of people saying that they're really enjoying the book. Don't know if they'll show up to the book club, but I just went back over town this weekend, and my mom bought me some cookies from Trader Joe's, and I'm going to serve those cookies if that gets you into the Trader Joe cookies.
Yeah.
Smarty Pants story time continues. Saturdays at 11. I'm slowly but surely getting a nice crowd there.
Good.
Must be because I do the Grand Old Duke of York so very well. And we got a big box of 300 COVID tests.
Wow.
So I have COVID. What kind of offer is that? I've got free COVID tests to give away. But I got them, so you can take them away by the half dozen if you want. Okay. Get them off my hands, please. Just a few other little things. Weaving your own bookmark. I just created this little thing. Cardboard looms, and you put the little thing and you weave it. Make your own bookmark. Decorate some dinosaurs. I bought a whole bunch of ceramic dinosaurs and some acrylic paint. So come on down to the library and read a book too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm just going to add on a little addendum to David's report on Shop Catalina with a reminder to business operators in the community that in addition to the home decorating contest, we are going forward with the annual business decorating contest, and we'll be judging during Shop Catalina. As the judges are in your stores, they'll be judging you. So please have your decorations up as soon as possible, but by 5 p.m. on the evening of Shop Catalina. And The Saturday after Thanksgiving is Small Business Saturday, and this year through Main Street America, we have been dubbed the official organization to hand out those kits. So we have 40 kits at the Visitor Center. First come, first served for businesses who want the materials to use for Small Business Saturday. And that's it.
Thank you. We'll be hearing from you a little bit later. And I just want to say, I see Doug Lord in the audience. I haven't seen you in quite some time. It's nice to see you. Okay. Southern California Edison. No, goodbye. Bye.
Good evening, Mayor Marshall and members of the City Council. I hope you're having a great evening. I am Selena Luna, Government Relations Manager for Southern California Edison. I wanted to give a few quick updates and then hand it over to Luke for your monthly water conservation update. Currently, Edison International is inviting high school students interested in STEM to apply for this year's Edison Scholars Program. This program recognizes students who are looking to be the makers of tomorrow, dreamers, innovators, guardians, and pioneers. We are asking high school seniors who are interested to apply. It is a $50,000 scholarship for 30 students within the Edison coverage area. Our application program is open until December 9th, 2022. You can learn more and apply at learnmore.scholarsapply.org/Edison Scholars. If you would like us to send you the link directly, please email catalinawater@scE.com, and we'd be more than happy to send you the link. I also would like to encourage residents of Avalon to consider applying for job opportunities at Southern California Edison. We currently have a job opening for a distribution journeyman lineman at our Avalon location. We also hire for a number of remote positions, which would be feasible for folks that live on the island to be a part of the Edison family. Learn more at edisoncareers.com. And at this time, I will pass it over to Luke for your water update.
Thanks,
you.
Selena.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Luke Shaner, Senior Advisor at Southern California Edison. So this month's water update will focus on a few areas: the reservoir status, recent water use trends, and our current stage 2 forecast. We will also show some water conservation tips and where we can go for more information, and then as well as report on upcoming activities. So we could proceed to the next slide, which should show, there we go. So October demand did settle after we saw a September surge. It's consistent with, I think, island visitation and other data that comes in. And I prepared two graphics here. The one on the right is a new one, and I want to steer the attention there first. And so those bars represent 5 different scenarios, because with Catalina there's a lot of variables and no 12-month period is consistent. So bear with me this one time and maybe next month, and then in 2023 we will go down to a plan and an actual, so two charts. But the first bar, which is the highest each month, is 2007, and that's useful because 2007 is the highest 15-year water demand. Not until 2022 have we seen demand come close to that amount. We're within 6% of those numbers currently. The next bar to 2007 is 2019. That's relevant because that's when we exited stage 1 last time in January of 2019, and so you saw a lot of usage depressed there, which has slowly increased over time. Next to 2019 is 2021, so that's what demand was doing just 12 months ago. Still, I think we experienced the pandemic impacting island visitation and usage. And then next to that with the dot is our current baseline, because it wasn't appropriate to use 2021 as the baseline of what we expect for year end, so we've used what we've seen in 2022 up until stage 1, and then we forecast that out based on 2021's monthly changes. And then what you see next to that in dark blue and dark red is 2022 actuals. So we show July through December representing the stage 1 program thus far, and so we have actual data through October. And I also want to call out that you see those bars are blue and red. Blue is desal production, red is groundwater production. So we have desal and groundwater to meet water demands. So an observation there, which is positive, you see the blue increasing over time. So much of that's attributed to desal plant 2, operational experience, continuous improvement. And what else do we want to call out here? And then just where we are in October. So October usage did reduce by 14% compared to September, but compared to the baseline, there's negligible savings, and through 3 months, about less than 1 acre foot has been conserved during stage 1. Any questions on the chart on the right? Now the chart on the left is the reservoir level, which we have shown before. Based on the most recent data through the end of October, the capacity was registered at 43%. That's a level of 455.78 acre feet. And just yet want to acknowledge there was rain, and rain is always good. We'll take it. And when I looked at the data, it did show that the drawdown rate cut in half to what it was the 2 weeks prior to what happened when the rain event happened and after. So do expect November to slow a little bit on the drawdown, but it did not flatten and it did not increase. And with the latest information, stage 2 forecast is in the summer of 2023 with persistent drought conditions. Any questions before I move on to the next slide?
No, we're good.
The only one I had was just if there was an update on, I know one of the rate cases had talked about changing the triggers for drought levels, if that had been put into effect yet with regards to managing the desal unit amount of water with the drought, with the levels of Thompson Reservoir.
No formal milestones. What I have on the last slide in next steps is that we are preparing that advice letter to make those requested changes to do just what you mentioned. And actually our December council meeting or close there too is when we'll have that key scope summarized to share. But the plan is to file that so that it's effective and available prior to stage 2 implementation.
But does it really matter in a way with the reservoir it still goes down? Does it matter what?
It lengthens the amount of the duration before we have to go into stage 2. Otherwise, it would be significantly
Yeah,
sooner.
it would be sooner, but the bottom line is still the same. I mean, then it'll be
water
quicker to
conserved
stage
now.
3. I mean, yeah.
Water conserved now helps defer stage 2 the
Yeah.
best.
Right.
But we do want to bring in more flexibility, recognizing the tools available, what desal capacity is, what demand trends are within those connected to desal. And if there's capacity, it does, want to make sure you optimize desal production and the demand.
Yeah.
So. So water conservation tips. So what I've just put on this slide is information that's available from saveourwater.com. So go to that website. A lot of information. All the material there is in English and in Spanish. And this just shows what can be done inside the home, outside the home. Have some photos from Chet's Hardware, which is a great application outside the home. I'll focus on a couple this time and just keep this in here to just refer to in future updates. But in the kitchen, wash vegetables in a container, not under running water, could help conserve water. And then when you're done, you have a container of water you can go irrigate a potted plant with. And I've even heard some chefs, they have 2 things of water if they don't get organic produce. That way you clean it once and then you clean it in the other one and then proceed to cut through. Also, what devices are available at the City Hall here at front desk, install low flow shower heads and install aerators on bathroom faucets. Those help reduce the flow of water out of them without creating too much discomfort. And then what we highlighted was somewhere on here, but just collecting rainwater, air conditioning condensate, ice machine, water drainage, and then using that one more time before it either evaporates or goes down the drain. And then another one, washing, instead of cleaning up with a hose and drinking water, using a broom to clean the sidewalks, patios, and walkways. Also, the reservoir levels on cityofavalon.com, and then the se.com/Catalina has the brochure for all the stage 1 water conservation information.
Great. I didn't know we were supposed to wash our vegetables before we ate them.
Just eat your vegetables, that's the important part. Here's some photos we got from Chet's Hardware earlier today. So here's the plan in action. So if you look at the roof, you see the air conditioner unit. There's piping that's sending the condensation into that black tank. And then that tank has a small pump that brings it back over to their little nursery and to irrigate the plants. So really neat. And they even have a faucet because when the rain happens, they have more water than the nursery even needs, and then they can use that water to wash their vehicles. So really neat. Encouraged the community to look at it and see if there's an application at their home or business.
All right, great.
And lastly, next steps. Desal enhancements phase 1. So we alluded to this, but the California State Lands Commission did deem our application complete, and so the next formal milestone would be the State Lands Commission hearing in February and California Coastal Commission hearing in March. So the desire is to move that forward and bring it online as soon as possible in the drought and before, helping to defer rationing if persistent drought conditions continue. Policy updates, so that's the advice letter Councilmember Lavelle alluded to there. Look forward to highlighting those in the December meeting, or if that's impacted because of the holidays, right into the new year. And then on water conservation, so our Edison's Reach Code Department still has the action to prepare some red lines for the city's information consideration for municipal code updates that reinforce water conservation. And last but not least here, upcoming rate changes. So this has nothing to do with the 2020 water GRC application that's pending, and there's no known rate change amount or timeline associated with that at this time. But what we do have is this annual reconciliation of actual sales versus planned, since we have a fixed revenue requirement. And since water demand was up, sales were more than anticipated, and so that actually leads to lower rates in the upcoming year. So that change will be coming. It may be as much as 18%, and then that even factors 4% less water sold in 2023 just due to stage 1 and potentially stage 2, but that is happening. And with that, that takes us through our update.
Any questions? And do you have anything? Nobody's coming? We have somebody from the audience wants to come up, Luke.
My only question is about the rainwater collection. And I know you might not be the one to answer, but how much would that cost to set up from a small business to someone as big as Vaughn's setting up something like that? Because if Mike can do it for his business, how many, everybody has an air conditioner and there's coolers and stuff in every business, so what would the range, I don't know what.
I guess maybe talk to Chet and see. I know Rock Goslin, I think, does that with his hotel as well. I don't know who else, but he might be a good one to talk to also. Because he's got a lot of AC water coming out of it, because he's got a decent sized hotel.
Yeah, well, I don't know if Mike was in the business of actually replicating it, but if he was, just knowing a range, just so you know it's an option if you ever have some extra money to spend.
Right.
They would know, a project as big as Vaughn's would cost $10,000 to install the system, or as little as just having an air conditioner unit and you're saving a gallon of water.
Yep.
Say, if you use that, how much would that cost to set up a system like that?
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
It's a good question.
It's really easy to, Carl, that's a great idea for residences to be able to set up something similar in their own homes. We did for a number of years at the old place that we lived at. You literally can buy them for anywhere from under 100 to just over a couple hundred, depending on the style and design. But to buy a unit that you can store water in from your drain pipe. And so it's literally just modifying the drain pipe if you need to the height to fit into that piece, or even fitting it under it. And then also the same thing with the condensate from air conditioning units if you have them, or any other systems like that would have it. It's a pretty easy fix. I'm fairly handy, but I can do it myself. So if I can do it, most people probably could. But then the bigger systems, Rock has one at the Avalon and had one at the Laundry for a long time. They're not inexpensive to set up, but not horribly over expensive, and the savings is actually beneficial, so especially over time. So great idea.
And Paul?
I don't know if this is germane. When the I was still at the Express Library on Metropole, we had this terrible air conditioner, awful air conditioner, but it condensed all the water into a gigantic tank, and then you could just take the tank and, you know, water plants and stuff.
Yeah.
It
Right.
worked really well.
Yeah, oh, great, thank you.
Yeah. The other thing that we did do that I think most people haven't thought of yet is if you can look into organic shampoos, soaps, and conditioners. So I know Dr. Bronner's is one that's pretty popular, but you can use those in the shower and actually have just a bucket that gathers water as you're washing and rinsing, and be able to use that still to do either rinse off of sidewalks or watering of plants if you need to. And then just the rinsing of vegetables was a good one, but if you also live in a house like most people do in town where it takes a while for water to heat up, put a bucket underneath your drain when it's heating up.
Right.
That cold water you can use for those purposes or for other stuff too. So just little changes will make a big difference.
So we're going to give Lisa the award next week. Thanks,
Thank you,
Lee.
Mayor.
Thank you very much. Selena, nice to see you again, and thank you. Okay, on to the consent calendar.
We need Mary.
Oh, Mary.
Right here.
You made it. Thank you, Michael.
Okay, for the consent calendar, first we have seeking approval of our minutes from November 1st, 2022 regular council meeting. Warrants approved total expenditures for October 24th, 2022 through November 4th, 2022 totaling $890,092.38. Finally, we need to determine that the COVID-19 state of emergency as proclaimed by the governor still exists and has been considered by City Council in deciding to continue to have teleconference meetings, and that state or local officials have imposed or recommended measures to promote social distancing in connection with COVID-19, and that as a result of the COVID-19 emergency, meeting in person would present imminent risk to the health or safety of attendees. Finally, item number 4, authorize the city manager or his designee to procure per the city's purchasing policy a used electric golf cart that meets the required specifications outlined by staff for a total not to exceed $12,000. That will be replacing a current vehicle that's over 20 years old. And item 5 is authorize the city manager or their designee to procure per the city's purchasing policy a used forklift that meets the required specifications outlined by staff for a total not to exceed $35,000. And finally, item 6, and Bob Greenlaw is here to answer any questions if there are any. Authorize the city manager to execute an amendment to the on-call engineering services contract with ESG Engineering to increase the total contract sum for fiscal year 21 to 22 by $100,000.
I just had one question on items 4 and 5. I know that probably both availability and cost are the key for getting used vehicles instead of new vehicles. But I don't know if that's something that we should be looking at in the future to try to procure new vehicles so we have them for the warranty and the life of the vehicle? Or is it just is that what the reasoning is right now? I know the vehicles are hard to get right now, so.
Yeah, mainly it's availability. And you can, especially regards to the golf cart, getting a used VMAX would be a very long wait.
Okay.
Or UMAX cart, I should say. And we wanted an electric option. Electric options are even a longer wait. So that's why we went with the used option there.
Okay.
And the forklift, yeah, once again, it comes down to availability. And it was a good fit for us, so we decided to make a move on that. But we are looking at some other equipment in the very near future, in particular a skid steer, some other items that we are looking at new options. So
Okay.
just kind of depends on the situation.
Okay.
Right.
So with that, I'll move to approve items 1 through 6 on the consent.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, call for the vote.
Councilmember Lavelle?
Aye.
Councilmember Schickling?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ponce?
Aye.
Mayor Marshall?
Aye.
4 ayes, 1 absent, Councilmember De La Rosa.
Thank you. Item number 7.
Item number 7, the only item that we have under general business is the annual Love Catalina Tourism Authority report. And Mr. Luchahan will present that, and then we'll just ask council to, if there are any comments or questions after that, receive and file the report. Thank you. Jim?
Thank you, Matt. loading me up here. While he's getting that up, I'll just acknowledge the fact that we have our current board chair, Bryce Knoll, in the room, current board member, Michael Ponce, in the room, and current board member, Daniel Tang, in the room.
And
Make sure I didn't miss anybody as far as board. And then I have two of my team members here tonight for moral support and cheerleading, and that would include Kathy Miller and Michelle Warner. Better you than me.
is it possible to close that back door? I don't know, Captain, if you're cold back there, but I'm getting cold up here. Yeah. Thank you.
The promotion isn't official until this weekend.
Okay. He was trying it on for size.
Okay, so I hope you'll all look at the screen while I'm looking up and down to read my notes with my fogging glasses.
Oh, gosh.
And I'll start off by saying good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to share the results of our annual audit and to take a look at the year 21-22 as it relates to the city's requirements of us. Okay. Isn't that a pretty shot?
Do you need Matt to,
I think I do, it's not advancing.
Matt?
It's not advancing, I tried the keyboard too. I do have it on my laptop too. So maybe I'll do it on here, maybe that's better than, yeah. Okay. All right, oh, and then I went too far. All right, so I'm gonna start off tonight by walking you through the highlights of our recently finished fiscal year, the audit of that year, and make references to the municipal code and our expenses or activities for each section of the code. I will once again show you snapshots of some of our tourism promotion efforts and take a look at our competitive set of destinations. Then finally, I'll show you some work in progress and upcoming promotions. For those of you who've been here for a few years, you've seen this slide every year where we talk about the cyclical nature of tourism promotion, bringing jobs and money back into the community. And also we have on this slide our organization's guiding language and some of the critical services that we always aspire to deliver. Here you see a list of the board that was serving for the fiscal year that ended June 30th. At the end of the year, we said so long to one board member, Levette Alcabe, who completed 2 full terms of service, and we have welcomed the gentleman, one of the gentlemen in the room, Daniel Tang, and as well as Janet Flathers mid-year to fill vacancies on the board. All other members that you see here are continuing to serve. As you know from Matt's reports and our monthly reports, we saw A near normal return in volume of visitors for the year. Here it's measured by the fiscal year versus the calendar year. While we exceeded recent years too, the fiscal year end was still under our pre-COVID levels of over 1 million. Here you see some detail on visitor counts pre-COVID-19 and during, and we truly bottomed out in January 2021 as far as visitor counts go. Revenue from hotel and vacation rental stays was strong for the last 4 months of the fiscal year, even with some ups and downs in occupancy. Rates remained high, and therefore TOT set an all-time record.
Mm-hmm.
Here you see occupancy rates. For comparison, I hope you'll note the 2018-19 monthly totals to see pre-COVID-19 levels. This spring, we exceeded those occupancy rates at our hotel, as did the period October through November of last year. That's important, as off-season has been on our task list every year for many years to draw additional room nights.
Say that again, please. Because now we're looking kind of in the middle of that, right? The November, December, January, February numbers, that's what we're looking at?
Yeah, if you look at the first column and the last column,
Mm-hmm.
and you look at the spring months, and you look at the fall months, you should see significant change in growth on those versus the summer kind of staying solid.
Yeah,
And
okay.
that's a goal always for our hotels, is to spread that business further into those seasons.
Right.
And vacation.
Yeah, I gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, I think I bumped. Okay, now I match the screen. Here you see the detail on short-term rental occupancy. Compared to pre-COVID-19 years, revenue from vacation rental stays were strong through the entire fiscal year, but like hotels, the biggest growth months were again in the shoulder seasons of fall and spring.
Mm-hmm.
The City of Avalon paid us during the fiscal year $1,133,000. After 2 lump sum true-ups, TOT revenue for the year was $1,912,700 to us. It's important to note that we did not receive $579,715 of that true-up during the fiscal year. So those funds are accounted for in both the audit as part of the revenue for that year, but then are being spent or were already spent over the course of the 2 fiscal years by us. We had the good faith effort throughout the year that we felt confident there would be a large true-up, so we obligated to multi-year contracts in several cases. Based on funds received and or budgeted and the counts of visitors, the cost of acquisition per visitor for this fiscal year was $1.15, down slightly from the prior year, which was $1.25. Here you see the section of the ordinance that requires 22% allocation to us for tourism promotion and music. Our total fiscal year budget was just about $2 million, and the post-true-up adjusted TOT allocation was $1.9 million. Add to that an additional revenue of $627,800 in earned income via memberships, ad sales, and fundraising. For the first time in many years, we had a shortage of tourism promotion expenses against that income by $81,000. However, the budget for the new fiscal year fully obligates those funds. On this slide, you see the portion of the ordinance that directs visitor services and public relations, as well as promotion to meeting and event planners. We welcomed 28,838 walk-in visitors at the visitor center on the pier and answered over 8,000 calls. Our subscribers remained loyal to opening our consumer e-blasts, and we saw a higher than industry standard for opening rates on our emails, hitting 18% versus 10% for the industry standard. Social media followers grew too, with TikTok showing the largest growth year over year. Continuing with the same section of the ordinance, here we illustrate visitor guide consumption and website traffic. Note, after not printing a 2021 visitor guide in hard copy, The 2022 visitor guide was released in February, so the numbers you see here reflect only 5 months of the fiscal year. With regard to groups visiting the island, meeting planners say that 2024 will now be the beginning of a real return to business meetings in person. Excuse me. A year ago, I stood here and told you that was going to be the fall of 2022. They keep kicking the can down the road. We are seeing some new demand for weddings, and corporate meetings, and events. Overall demand for filming is up, and we continue to see crew visits filling room blocks for multiple nights at a time. Just as a reminder, the very large crew that was here for many Island Scouts and then ultimately the filming of the episode of Avalon fell outside this fiscal year, so those numbers are not yet accounted for here. Some of the other requirements or agreements that we have with the city to provide services are called out here, including cruise industry relationships, where this past year we welcomed the inaugural visit of a Disney ship to our port, and we will have recurring Disney visits going forward. We also saw the return to calls by Royal Caribbean, something that our retailers have longed for many years since they departed. In addition, we devoted resources to another content shoot. That means film and video assets were gathered for future promotion. We launched a website redesign and have enhanced collection of data on visitor spending. For those of you who plan to attend the annual marketing conference later this week, you'll see a lot more detail on those and other efforts. We continue to use NO, as in zero, TOT or tourism promotion funds for political action, and we take pride in our transparency with all of our finances being posted online and shared publicly. We have a record book available for inspection at any time at our office, and we would welcome a city audit or inspection of our books at any time. You see 2 seals here. In 2020, we managed to achieve the gold standard from GuideStar for transparency as an organization. GuideStar has since rebranded. They now refer to themselves as Candid, thus the difference of those 2 names on the seals. But I'm really proud of the fact that we've made it all the way to platinum now. I think there's one nonprofit on the island that we share that accolade with, of meeting the platinum standard. And here you see a quick example of some of the digital banners that we ran during last fiscal year. Here you see last year's allocated media spend by location and type.
It's harder for me to understand.
And now we cross our fingers for some technology again. A sample of a video that we did last year.
But we don't know how much. We just. I'm sorry, the paid media plan one just kind of throws me. I don't know what that. It's saying this is when you.
That particular slide calls out the seasonality of when we spend the most money. So the orange square shows where we spend the dollars to drive more demand.
Oh, okay.
We spend the money here and it actually advertises here.
Okay. Okay.
And I think
Ew.
this sound is working, but
Oh.
this is one of the videos we produced last year.
And that's found on all of these social media platforms?
This particular version is on our YouTube channel, and it was shared through social media. It was linkable in various places. It also was placed on television. I think you shared with me, Mary,
I saw one of
that
them.
you saw it as a preload on streaming television content.
Yes.
This is one of the videos that performed that.
I think I might go visit that place. It looks kind of fun.
Okay, and it'll probably.
I'll bring it back in.
Thank you.
But this is when the money gets spent for those advertisements, and then this is where the actual ads will show. So tries to draw traffic during times when there's actual need for it, versus in the summertime where we don't have a need for traffic and then we did invite more people out here. So they'll run it for like leading up to the season and then in the actual fall season to help offset traffic for other stuff. And then this is the type of spend, so, right. So paid social is gonna be like through social media channels, connected TVs, everything like on Hulu or Netflix when they have ads or cable system has ads. Even on display, so this is gonna be either you can start on the screen, so if you went and searched something for Catalina, and then you're looking at other stuff, it'll pull it up for you. And then this is the Go to Catalina search page, there's a 3 entities that pay into that, and that covers everyone, so it connects them all.
We should have Lisa on the mic, she's doing a great.
I know, deciphering your graph.
It is on the mic, so.
It is for others out there, okay, good. So in a nutshell, that is, you know, a good encapsulation of what we did last year, but just a fraction of it. I just showed you a tiny little fraction of what we did. So here you see a recurring slide that I've brought you year after year showing our competition with notes on their TOT rates, whether or not they have a T-bid, virtually all of our competition do, and their total tourism promotion budgets. Despite our big jump in recent funding, we are well behind the competition when it comes to money for marketing. Yet we are buying media in the very same, very expensive markets that they do. Add to that the impacts of inflation, and our dollars don't go as far as they need to. As an example, paid search costs are up year over year about 14%. So here you see the seasons in which we will be promoting visitation to the island most aggressively, again September through May. And this is looking ahead at our media plan in more detail. That previous slide was just sort of an overarching slide for last year. This is the media plan for the year that we're now in. And it continues because it's too big for one slide. On to the next page. It's important to take into consideration here the totals that you see only represent the paid portion of our media buys and not various other efforts, which I'll be referring to again a little bit later. Some of the other important things we do include being a subscriber to and sharing destination analyst data and passion profiles, compiling capacity lists, monthly visitor stats and PR clip reports, annual calendar of events, annual cruise ship schedule, consumer comments, and sentiments. We've significantly updated and enhanced our Book Direct features on our website, bringing more revenue to our lodging properties with no fees. We are engaged in internet and cellular connectivity issues and solutions, as well as locally and statewide with stakeholders on that subject and on California Air Resources Board rules that have the potential to be devastating to our local economy. On our 5 microsites are rich in information on specific subjects, and our professional affiliations help to keep us and all of you apprised of important trends and issues in tourism. We continue to enjoy and look forward to our role as event managers and makers, as well as event supporters. I'd like to close the presentation today by sharing some research data from the tourism industry that is or will impact all of us. For the first time since the start of the pandemic over 2.5 years ago, the proportion of American travelers who were unconcerned about contracting COVID has surpassed those who are concerned. The percentage of travelers who say they are highly concerned about contracting the virus has dropped to 38.4% of American travelers as of this month. This follows the trend that we have been seeing since the Omicron variant wave hit in 2021, with this month making the lowest percentage since destination analysts started tracking the metric in March of 2020. And some bad news. Economic activity and the desire to tighten the purse strings are increasing. Traveler sentiment indicates that American travelers expect the U.S. will enter a recession soon, with 2/3 now believing this economic outcome to be imminent. Interestingly, the belief spans generations, geographic regions, and all income levels. As such, 68% of American travelers say they are being careful with their money, and as a result of recessionary fears of this group, they are tightening their wallets. 79% say that this includes reducing expenditures when traveling. Not saying they won't travel, but reducing expenditures when traveling. Near term for the holidays and the impacts of international travel, despite the growing concerns around travel spending, the near-term outlook for travel still appears healthy. 82% of American travelers say they are ready and have existing trips planned for the winter. More specifically, in the next 3 months, 58% have a leisure trip planned, 51% have a trip to visit friends and family, and 15% have business travel, 9% have other undefined types of travel planned. More than 28% report having plans to travel for leisure in the month of November, which is up 4 points over just a month ago. And 30% plan to travel in December, up 2 points from just a month ago. So what that means is people are back in that pattern of making late travel decisions. That we had gotten out of that for a little while because of the pent-up demand and what we were seeing for COVID. Now we're back at seeing that shorter, later planning stage. But they're still planning travel, which is good news. Thanksgiving travel is estimated to be up 20% from 2021, and Christmas travel plans are expected to be up 27% from 2021. 14% plan to travel for New Year's, and I can reflect locally, we are seeing significant growth in demand for our New Year's Eve gala this year as a reflection of that. With that, I rushed it a little bit to try and stay under the 20 minutes. I don't know if I did it with the technological problems, but I'm open to any questions.
Sure. So I've got a couple questions. So you say promotion of events. So do we know, number one, how many people actually come to talk about their event, and then how many actually follow through and hold it, the event?
How many event planners come to us?
Yeah, and or corporations for conventions, or any of those kinds of people. How many of those people actually inquire and then follow through or don't?
For the fiscal year at hand, at least I can tell you that we've had very few of those sorts of leads come our way because most of those entities have not even returned to full-scale planning yet. Kathy, may want to chime in or add to that? The primary leads we're getting right now are for weddings. We're not getting big activities and big events coming at us.
Right.
But in a pre-COVID world, I would say it was maybe in a dozen or so a year that were coming to us with plans. And then often, by the time we walk them through the logistics of doing business on the island, some of them elect to do it in Newport Beach or something instead, because under one roof and without a barge involved, it's just, more simple to do so.
Right.
Others want the unique experience and the very special experience of coming here. And so it tends to be most successful for a little bit smaller entity, because transportation's easier to move 20s of people than it is to move hundreds of people. And a lot of sort of incentive or hiring corporate business. Lisa can, I'm sure, acknowledge this because she's in this business day to day. They're the ones who can navigate the various logistics of bringing an event to the island.
Well, and the word you use is incentivize, and I'm not sure in what realm. What does the chamber or even it seems to me, I could be totally off base, but it seems to me, we have this event that wants to come, and then the rates don't go down. The rates are like, so is there a discussion amongst the chamber and its members about either with chamber money or businesses to provide, if we can say we're reducing these rates by 25%, not like Vaughn's where it says this is what the rate is, they up the rate and then they put the tag down, and it's, that, not like that. But if there was a way that we could incentivize and be able to entice them more.
Many destinations do have some sort of a rebate if after the fact you can show that you've achieved X, Y, or Z in your block of business, so many rooms, so many room nights. Usually that is done on with an organization that's much, much larger than us and has actually a housing department who runs that. So you may have signed up to attend a convention or a conference on your own where without even leaving that organization's website, you know, reserve your room and everything, and then it goes through that housing office. And there's probably in those events an incentive back to that company who's doing that.
But up front, there's maybe at the marketing meeting this could be discussed, but up front to say, hey, because I see that you said, and I could be reading the chart wrong, because you're talking about trying to bring people in the off season, and you said you're going to advertise. It says here, spring campaign in March, April, and May. Well, that's when spring is. So wouldn't you be doing a
No, the
spring?
spring campaign is when that campaign's gonna happen.
Is when it's running.
It's promoting the next season coming.
Okay, okay.
It's like in fashion where they do the year before.
Oh, okay. So really though, for me, the spring campaign, should be September, August, September is the spring campaign, because that, you've got to get the word out 5 or 6 months before.
Yeah, the leisure traveler makes their decisions in a shorter window. So a little bit of the spring campaign, not to disagree with Michael, but a little bit of the spring campaign is about coming later in the spring. And then, or planning your summer travel when it's time to do so, you know, and so on. The business traveler or the meeting planner or the event planner, they're usually working on a calendar year and they have a budget cycle, and that's what drives their decision making versus our seasonal promotion. They start looking for RFPs. Let's say if they work on a calendar year, they start very early in the year, in January, February, looking at something that might be a year, 18 months, 2 years out.
Yeah, okay. So I'm sure other people have questions or comments.
Just to that point, I think right now what we're seeing massive event planners, so 200 to 300 people or more that want to come and do events. Those are usually 2 years in advance. And so trying to explain to them that I can't book them a hotel yet, or a boat yet, or activities yet, because nobody has calendars 2 years out, but being able to say, well, we assume prices may increase by this much, here's what the proposal would be. So that's what we're working on now. But they're seeing the interesting fact that I picked up from the last marketing conference that I went to, which was heavily towards tours and activities, was that most guests visit on average up to 90 web pages before they actually make a decision to book.
Decide to go. Yeah.
And so knowing that that's the case, like if you've put together all the web pages that everyone on the island has, minus the chamber, we wouldn't hit 90 web pages. If you put the chamber in there, that we would hit that number. But it's interesting to know that that's the average number. So that means people are exploring way more than that, and people are seeing way less than that. And it's through every different medium you could imagine. And so I think the challenge is trying to figure out, and I think the Chamber's done a relatively good job of this, of having information on the site that easily can be found by event planners for big events like that. Those take a lot more planning. They've come to us before, like for Otillo, to come and get incentives, and it would be nice if there could be a way that we could make it so that hotels didn't have a 2-night minimum, and it would be nice if we could make it so that there were discounted rates. But the trend, I think, for most locations, especially larger venues, is that they're not discounting anymore. They're not doing that. We just went to Vegas, and those rooms were slightly discounted off the nightly rate, but not by much. And with by the way, a TOT of, I think it was 15% plus a 12.5% resort fee. So, you know, it's hard because the window of people we're seeing right now, for us especially, we're seeing people that are booking for day after tomorrow, and we're seeing people that are wanting to book in April, May, and June of next year already, and it's everything in between. So trying to fit one campaign for everyone isn't what they do. But I don't know. I mean, I think the avenues that I think you're using right now are great. I would love to see some additional creativity campaigns. It's fun seeing a lot of creative campaigns from other cities. San Diego has a really good one right now. Vegas has always kind of had one just because of who they are. But I feel like if we can do some fun and unique things that are totally outside of the box, I feel like that would be something that could elevate what is already an amazing set of campaigns that we have. And some of that stuff doesn't come by planning it. It's just something you find or stumble into, unfortunately. So, but I don't know. I don't have any other questions.
Because when you say there's, you know, we're in a recession and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, I think when you're talking about campaigns, what can be done to attract them to compete with the other folks? And it takes the whole community working together on something like that.
Yeah.
You know?
You're setting me up beautifully for the importance of the marketing conference that's
Yeah.
this Thursday. Because
Okay.
that's the community dialogue that we will have there.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I did have another question, though.
And I think we're all attending that, by the way, right?
I am.
Yeah.
I am. Are you going to the marketing meeting on Thursday? Yeah, okay. So I guess it's okay that we all go? That's not a problem?
As long as we don't discuss
Don't
business,
ask us
yes.
any city-related questions at the meeting on Thursday. Thank
Okay.
you.
So okay. And I don't know what difference this would make in numbers and thinking things out. When we talk about cross-channel carriers, and in 18 we had 712, in 22 we had 747, not that large of an increase, and the cruise ships were down. But it just goes to show, but just the prices were up, is all that seems to tell me.
If the revenue was up when the visitor volume was down, then prices were higher.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're experiencing this year, or that's what has been happening. But I'm wondering, and I don't know what difference does it make, on the cross-channel carriers, how many of those are us?
So, the Catalina Express has shared it before, and I would probably be wrong if I took a guess at the exact number, but they have shared percentages before because they've had to calculate, for like the fuel surcharge and
Right.
so on, what is us and what is not. I would gladly ask my contacts there to give me that number again, because I don't have it in a trusted way in my brain right now.
Because how significant, is that 100,000 people, you know, when you put us into that?
Well, something else that's important too, you will hear from time to time the Express, or it might be true of the Flyer too, that they will share their total annual sales or their total number of passengers. They count both directions. We only count arrivals. All of the data sets I give you are arrivals because we want to count the number of people, not the number of transports.
Yeah. But that would still include us then when
It
we
would
come back
include-
home?
It would include us,
Yeah.
and if we,
Yeah.
if we can, the problem is, I think it's not a consistent 10% or
Right,
15%, it
right.
varies.
Right.
I mean, we all know, the first boat in the morning out of here has the highest number of us on it, and the last boat of the day
Coming
back
back.
has the highest number of us on it.
Right.
You know.
So if I'm reading it correctly, though, so I did a little calculation here based on the numbers that the city presented. In 18, the cost per visitor was $1.02, and 22, the cost per visitor is about $1.95. And so that's why I also was wondering if you're taking a number of locals out of that, that number would go up considerably, as it would have in 18 as well. You know, I guess it would be.
If you subtract for that, you're gonna subtract it on any of the years.
Yeah, on both sides. And the other thing is on page 2 of the staff report, and you touched on it a little bit, and I guess going forward, and maybe this will be a discussion more at the marketing meeting, to promote the city as a site for professional business and trade conventions. I don't know much is going on in the trade convention world, or is everything Zoomed? I'm not sure.
Not everything's Zoom. You guys have all mentioned that you've attended meetings recently. I was recently at FCCA, but FCCA had maybe a third of the attendees that it had pre-COVID, as an example.
They haven't, the numbers haven't
It
gone up
hasn't
that
come back,
much.
yeah.
Right. They're still having them, it just, And then on the other one, item D, is to perform such activities, other activities as may be required by the city. Now, what year was this thing put together?
That particular ordinance, I believe, was 90.
And I don't think the city councils have looked at it since then.
I don't know.
And it's just now coming to fruition, which I'm glad it finally is.
Well,
And
we've been living by this ordinance since it was approved.
I know, but nobody's read it. I mean,
Well, I've had it in my presentation for 5 years. I've been using it
yeah,
this way.
but I guess we did look seriously at to perform other activities that might be required by the city council. And I would hope going forward, with a large amount of money that you're getting this year, and from what I understand when we met, you're saying that money is pretty much all encumbered. But the visitors to the island help wear down the island, and they still want a nice, clean place to come and visit. And I would like to see us, I don't know when we could start this, but working with the city, because we have a lot of beautification projects we would like to do, just
So,
like Archway.
Just like the city, every April, May, we're in planning for a June adoption of a July 1st budget.
For
So,
next year,
And
yeah.
David and I have discussed this in our monthly meetings. You know, we want to be a good partner, we want to be good
I
stewards,
understand.
and we want to work with the city on that. You may also recall that when we kicked off the Care for Catalina program a few years ago, we had proposed to form a care fund to do that. So it might have taken the form of something like a roundup, like on our online reservations, where if your total was, $396, you could round up to $400, and that went in the care fund. And then those funds could be used as a match to something that we pulled out of our budget to go toward other projects in the community. That kind of took a back seat during COVID and our own budget struggles at that point, because, you got to remember how bad it was for us. And so this, that was one of the things that got parked. And I'm totally willing to revisit that. In fact, I recently shared with David an opportunity for a course through Main Street USA on ecotourism and for small Main Street America type organizations. We're like the definition of a Main Street
Yes.
America town.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be taking that course, and I've invited anyone from the city who wants to join in that course. It's a online course, and we can maybe come out of that course alone with some proposals to do together.
All right, great, that's good. Anybody else have questions or comments, or anybody on the machine there?
No, I have
No?
no comment.
I just saw something weird here, and it just jumped out at me. It says one-time website redesign fee, and it's on there twice. So is it just a
It's
big
two
giant fee and
payments.
it
We
was
divided it
split in
into
half?
It was half and half payment.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, one time and there's two of them, but,
Yeah.
all right.
One time meaning not
Gotcha.
a part of our recurring monthly fees.
Good,
Okay.
good, good.
All right.
Anybody in the audience want to comment? Board members?
Bryce Knoll, the Director of Retail Services for Catalina Island Medical Center and the Chair of the Chamber Board. So one of the things that Jim does very well is research. He data mines constantly. That data is not to sell anything to you guys, it's to help. We did strategic planning for the hospital a couple of weeks ago, and we use a company that uses the best algorithms that are insanely expensive. And right next to that data was Jim's data. And they used Jim's data to help understand Catalina.
Right.
Without that information, they would have been completely useless. So another thing that I think, I had a great conversation with Mary and Jim to learn a little bit more about the chamber. And in my new role, I'm learning a whole lot more about marketing. I've been on the chamber board for 5 years, but really, I've always let the marketing stay with the people that do marketing.
Yeah.
And I'm good at fundraising. So I think one of the fundamental changes that marketing has had over the last decade is that it has gone from being mostly in print to mostly digital. And digital is very different. And Mary said, well, I don't see any of your marketing. And the difference between print marketing and digital marketing is that in print marketing, everybody can see it. But in digital marketing, you can target a very specific audience at a very specific time. So when we talk about the spring campaign and those clicks are going to be for a very specific subset of people that our marketing team that spends a lot of time and research finding the exact right people that we want to come here during the very specific season that we want them to come. If you look at the marketing dollars that are spent in the chamber, there's very little marketing dollars that are spent in the summertime. Why would we need to market in the summertime? We're sold out anyways.
Right.
So it's all spent on those shoulder months. The dead of winter it's hard to market those months, but the shoulder months, October, November, April, May, those are ones where we can grow business, enhance the ability for businesses to have a more year-round economy. And
Oh, you're fine. Bryce, go ahead.
and so I think, you know, what I said to Mary is, well, we're not marketing to you. You're already here.
Right.
So I think it's a fundamental difference when you see a billboard going down the 710, right? That's something that everybody's going to see. That's the way print media works. But with digital, we can refine it much more and target a very specific audience. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Well, thank you for the report. Thank you very much. I know a lot of work goes into this, and congratulations on your audit as well. So we're just going to review and now file the audit? Okay. That doesn't take an action, right?
Correct.
No, okay. Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Well, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I am curious about the travel around Thanksgiving and Christmas. How much of that is family travel versus going somewhere else?
It was between those two data sets.
Okay.
It said, I think, 27% will be business friends and family.
Oh, to only 27. The rest are just going.
Well, of that.
Getting away from their family. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Meeting adjourned. Good night, Tony.